Recently, we started playing Jusant. This is a puzzle platforming game by Don't Nod that's available over on Windows as well as PlayStation and Xbox. Don't Nod has done things like the Life is Strange games, which I very much enjoyed, and this is definitely very different from like the Life is Strange series. Basically, this game is a very peaceful and fun game where you play a person who is going and exploring this ancient civilization that has, from a bygone era. Sorry, I cannot speak today for some reason. And generally, you climb this very large mountain with the goal of getting to the top and just enjoying the sights as they come. On top of that, you end up meeting this little water frog buddy that can help you with various different things, like, for example, feeding plants in order to make them grow, which you can then use to, grapple onto and climb the mountain further. First things first is this game's pretty simplistic, so I don't think this will be a very long overall review, and we are at Chapter 4, so we just started Chapter 4, meaning we are halfway through the game. Chapter, I believe, 6 is the final chapter. So we just are at the halfway mark, and so we figured we'd go ahead and give you our kind of first impressions. This game was addicting. It's something that we picked up and then played for like an hour and a half straight without even thinking about it, or 2 hours straight without even really thinking about it. It was really fun exploring and trying to figure out the different ways to go up the mountain, and there do genuinely seem to be some variations in the way that you can handle everything, which I think is very cool. On top of that, I would say the best thing about this game is the actual mechanism for climbing. The movement and everything is very, very natural and fluid feeling. Everything is basically pretty standard in regards to walking around. You have your joystick, you have your jump button, etc. However, when you go and you climb on the mountain, you use the triggers on your remote in order to place your hands on the various rocks. You use then the kind of left stick in order to aim whichever direction you're going to be going, and you let go of each trigger, one at a time in order to move your hand to the next thing. So you'll go, left trigger down while you letting go of the right trigger, and then you hold the right trigger down in order to let go of the left, and so on and so forth. And basically, this allows you a pretty smooth climbing mechanism. The entire thing makes it feel like you're genuinely sitting there gripping on the mountain yourself, and adds an entire level of anxiety because if your fingers slip, you will slip just like the girl on the mountain. Now, there are ways in order to protect yourself. You have like a rope system that you can attach to pretty much any flat surface, and so therefore if you're about to fall or something like that, you can try to put that down so that way you can hold it for a second. There is indeed a stamina bar, and you can go ahead and rest in between moving up the mountain. Whenever you go ahead and you stand on a solid surface, a flat surface, you then go ahead and get the full bar to regenerate. However, when you're climbing up, sometimes when you are going to be resting and whatnot, your stamina bar will lower the maximum amount that you have. It seems that there is a minimum amount of stamina that it will allow you, being like maybe an eighth of a bar up to a quarter of a bar maybe, but it's more like an eighth of a bar. That basically will always be there, but the rest of the stamina bar can get entirely blacked out. This makes it so that you really have to think about each placement and think about getting out the mountain, and also they have various different ways that you can reset, in various long areas. For example, they have these platforms that you can grapple onto and you can put your rope on, that if you're going on a very particularly long vertical, it will allow you to rest and reset your stamina bar, which makes perfect sense, and all of these seem to be placed in the perfect spots. On top of that, you can pretty much grapple onto anything that's sticking out of the mountain. Anything that's clearly a smooth surface you cannot grapple onto. However, if you use your rope, you can theoretically wall run, which is pretty fun, and we've found ourselves getting to some pretty interesting places by wall running and jumping. You can also do certain double jump aspects where once you jump, you can jump again, and this gives you a good amount of leeway so that way you can make it pretty far. This, again, made it so that there was a lot of variation in how you could complete each section of this mountain. It made it so that there were some times as well that you might go to a certain place and realize that, hey, this isn't exactly where I needed to go, and then you kind of backtrack and find a new thing. I think that there is the only complaint that I'd have about this game is there is sometimes when it feels like you're supposed to do one specific route or specific thing, and it feels like it's just possible. However, it's just barely impossible. impossible. And those types of situations definitely are quite frustrating. Or for example, when you use your frog buddy, your water frog, he basically does this really cute thing where he goes and he stands up on your head and he looks around and does this kind of humming thing. When he does that, you can look around and you can see these kind of circular things. They're like green or red sometimes they're blue. I don't know what these are for, and the game never really directly said what they were for. So therefore, I've used, of course, our little buddy in order to grow different plants and get to different areas, which, especially when you have the vines that you can hold on to and they grow really fast and take you super far up, it's really cool and really fun to be able to see that types of thing, and makes the environment feel really alive. And again, the fact that everything is grappleable for the most part except flat surfaces makes it feel like, again, there's just a lot of variation in how you could do it, but I just wish they were a little more clear on what the hell the frog is doing when he's sitting on top of my head. So far, I found absolutely no utility for it, and anytime that I try to go towards the circles or line them up or do anything with them, nothing seems to happen except the controller just vibrates endlessly and doesn't actually complete any task or do anything. Now, it said early in the game that it was supposed to show you where your next big thing was, or where your next goal or objective was. However, I don't think that to be the case, as it genuinely doesn't seem like it's showing me an objective. It seems kind of random as to where these circles are. Now, again, this is something that by the end of the game, it might all of a sudden come into effect, and there might be a reason for this, and I just haven't reached it yet. So keep that in mind, that again, this is a first impression, so maybe that will come into view later. I also do like that they added a little animation where if you want to pet your little frog buddy, he can go ahead and just jump into your hands and you can give him a nice little pet. That definitely makes it also feel a little more interactable and like the world is actually alive. On top of that, I think certain other aspects, like for example, rock bugs that are basically bugs that look like rocks that you can grapple onto and you can have them kind of take you upwards, is super fascinating and a really cool mechanism overall that I did not expect in this game whatsoever. That's the nice thing, is as you continue through the chapters of this game, there is just more and more that seemingly I wouldn't have expected that just gets thrown out there. It's really unique and just such a different game that I would have never expected, that's really peaceful and just a really good time to chill out and climb this nice mountain. You get some really cool sights as well that I really enjoy too. On top of that, you also have various letters that you can interact with. These letters basically give you a history of the people that lived in these areas. Some of them were bakers, some of them were people that built things, some of them were, whatever you would typically need in a general society. This also, once again, made it feel like I was exploring something that was real, that had some sort of history, and that I was just slowly piecing the puzzles together of. It's a really fun way to do it, and the fact that there's no dialogue means that, of course, there is a lot of heavy reading. But I mean, look, I'm a Souls-like fan. I generally very much enjoy the whole type of environmental storytelling aspects. But Jusant, on top of everything that I've said and all of the praise that I've given it, it's also available for free on Xbox Game Pass day one. Obviously, Game Pass costs, but considering if you have it, you can play it. That is a really, really cool fucking day one that I very much enjoyed and overall has been quite fucking fun. It's something that I would definitely recommend you guys give a try. I don't know if it's free on PlayStation Network, but again, especially if you have Game Pass, it is 100% worth at least giving it a shot. The game is super fun, super unique, and just something that I would have never expected, especially from a developer of Life is Strange. What do you guys think? Have you guys played this game? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Do you agree with me on anything? Do you disagree? Or can you clarify what the fuck Echo is doing when he sits on your head? You let me know. Besides that, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. That'll pop up during the outro, and the rest of our links are down in the description too. We have gaming sessions for gaming content, movie sessions for trailer content, smoking sessions for movie news and reviews, Crazy Rocky for variety content, and the Tribe Podcast for our podcast channel. And besides that, we have a Discord link you can join below too. Alright guys, I'll see you all in the next one.
Abducted by my brain and it drains all the dopamine. Pain leaving nothing but the dreams that have been holding me. Reality cracks and it falls at the open.